Well, there is no doubt in my mind. There's no way I'm running another unreversed ripper on my ground without doing some kind of surface tillage behind it to smooth it out. I mean, this farm is already rough to begin with. It is flat beating me up. I'm picking probably about the same speed as I was picking in our 9965 4.0 picker, 12 years ago.
It is 8 o'clock in the morning. Going to have UT come out so I can weigh all these. I got out here early so that I could get all the rest of them from yesterday. And I'll be ready by 9. It's a beautiful morning. We are down to the last 3 farms for cotton. So hoping to be done Wednesday, because on Halloween, which is Thursday, we're supposed to get rain. So, which would be welcoming because it's still really dry out here. Everybody is kind of sick with sniffles and crud. In fact, Carter's home with a fever this morning. H&R's out here early. We're still having guidance problems with that other tractor. Shirley 2.0 doesn't want to work. But it is a really nice day. It's warm. It's like close to 60. It's supposed to be 85 today, and that's my kind of weather, but not gonna lie, ready for hoodie season. Now I get to play the game. Let's find all the pink marshmallows, which are pretty much everywhere. It's like, where did they go? I have no clue. Some back there, some over here. Yeah, it is. It's been a long weekend. It's been a long week, but we're down to, I think, 80, 57, and 17. That's how many acres we have left to get done before Thursday, so my back needs a rest for sure, but we're gonna get it done, and then we'll get a little bit of rain, and then we'll go back to planting wheat and then getting beans out. The goal is to be done by Thanksgiving.
Ferguson farm. If you remember back from last fall, this is the first farm that we ripped. Well, we didn't rip all of it. There's 86 acres here, and the farm kind of divides in half, and we ripped the left hand side, which was the worst yielding part of the farm, and then didn't rip the right hand side of the farm. And just visually looking at it, I really don't see any difference between the two. Definitely not a night and day difference. Now this area right out in here definitely looks better because it was heavily compacted. This is where we load trucks and dump chicken litter and everything else, but the rest of it, I mean, it doesn't look bad, but I mean, as far as visual differences, I just not seeing a whole heck of a lot. But as always, the yield monitor should tell the difference. We'll definitely keep a close eye on the yield monitor, and I'll be sure to let you know if I see any kind of differences. But we're pretty much done with all the pretty cotton for the year. Everything we're going to be in now is replanted, and it's all planted like May 29th, May 30th, so a really short growing season, and those top bolls just didn't have a chance to really mature out to where they'd fluff out and look nice and pretty. So still think it'll be decent cotton, but our beautiful higher yielding cotton for the year is definitely done. So I don't know, maybe my first impressions were wrong on this rip ground. I mean, we're in probably the worst spot of the whole farm. I mean, this area right here just would not really make much of anything, and Yeah, I mean, the cotton ain't great, but definitely looks better than cotton I've grown here in the past, even if it does have a kind of a skippy stand. And then up here, once we cross the terrace, we kind of get into a little flat, and for whatever reason, I mean, that part never grew good crops, even though it's got good, decent topsoil. You know, it's not highly eroded, you know, it's pretty flat. Good gosh, this farm is rough as a cob. This is a miserable farm to pick, I ain't gonna lie. Anyway, I was saying this flat up here just never yielded good, even outside the area where we park trucks, and it does look better than what it's looked in the past. So I do think the ripping has paid off some. Is it the absolute miracle that a lot of people claim? I don't know. I do think it's just another piece of the puzzle, though. Although this year it's going to be hard to really draw many conclusions. I mean, this cotton had to be replanted, you know, May 29th, May 30th, something like that. Short growing season, several periods of drought during the growing season. But like right in here, it does look better than what it's looked in the past. So we're definitely on our worst cotton. I mean, so far this farm yielded probably bale and a half, bale and 3/4 maybe, if I'm lucky. Another reason it kind of looks so bad is we got a bunch of dried up stuck leaves on there too. Our mixture was off on our defoliant, and you got some dried up leaves on there, kind of blocks some of that pretty white cotton. So it's better than what it looks, but it's still not great. It's going to be interesting to see what the grade is on this cotton with all this extra trash that's going to be ground up in it, with those leaves getting ground up when it goes through the picker. Hopefully we can still maintain a leaf grade of about 3 and not get hammered on our price too much. Well, there is no doubt in my mind, there's no way I'm running another unreversed ripper on my ground without doing some kind of surface tillage behind it to smooth it out. This ground's rough when I planted. I tell you what, it's even rougher running a cotton picker across it, just side to side or whatever. And then you got my heads here with automatic header height control, and those heads are heavy. You know, as it's going across the rough ground, you know, they're doing up and down. When they start bouncing, then all that weight's pulling down on the picker, and then the tires are rebounding, and it just creates an oscillating effect that does not go away until you take them out of header height control or slow down. I mean, this farm was already rough to begin with, just the way that it lies. I mean, just hills everywhere, rolling, terraces, everything else. Now you add in the ripper and also the sprayer ruts that I got to contend with, because we sprayed once or twice over here when it was a little wet. It is flat beating me up. I mean, I'm not even able to pick all the way forward in first gear. I'm having to, you know, work my hydrostat back and forth to, you know, keep a speed that's just not going to tear everything up. As it is, I'm picking probably about the same speed as I was picking in our 9965 4.0 picker, you know, 12 years ago. Somewhere between 3.5 and 4 miles an hour is what I'm able to do on a lot of this. Well, I think we're about to get out of the roughness ground. You see how just rolling all of that is, and there's a terrace in there too. It's just aggravating. This side of the farm gets quite a bit better though, so hopefully we'll be able to pick up our speed here in a little bit.
Well, we got moved over here a couple hours ago, and I've already got 1, 2, 3, and working on the 4th one. This field is so rough because Matt ripped it up this past spring, and you cannot drive across it to save your life. So, oh God, I am trying to take the field road to save my back because it is rough. I know Andy back over there loading chicken litter is not having a good time in this either. So just trucking along, doing the best we can, try and get done. Ooh, I need a spa day.
Well, there's no secret that I love this picker and the way it's designed, but it's got one aggravating thing to it, and it always seems to pop up this time of day. On my handler back there, you know, that the baler ejects the module on. It's got two sensors across from each other that is some kind of optical sensor or laser sensor or something. But anyway, when there's a module on the back, it breaks communication between the two sensors, so the picker knows there's a module back there, so you know, don't try to eject another module, and you know, it's a safety thing. Well, it seems like whenever the sun gets low in the sky like that, it messes with that optical sensor, and it gives a false reading. You know, this last module I tried to eject, it wouldn't do it because it was saying there's a problem with the sensor. I got back there, make sure there wasn't any kind of cotton or lint blocking it. I wiped it off, you know, real good, make sure dust wasn't the problem, but it still wouldn't eject. And the most likely reason is the sun was hitting it at just the right angle and giving it a wrong reading. I haven't had a choke up all day, and I go to film a segment, and guess what happens? I have a choke up. Now, how do they fix that issue? I don't really know that there is a solution. The sensor's like recessed up in a cavity, so I mean, I guess the sun's got to be hitting it at a specific angle, but it just popped up again right there. I don't know, one thing I wish this picker did have would be like an ignore alarm, or you know, some kind of bypass function to ignore a warning or something. You know, just like there for a week, every time I go to stop, I'd have a warning pop up about you know, left rear tail light. I mean, the bulb was blown. I didn't have time to go to town and get a new one, so I just dealt with it. You know, it'd be nice to have some way to just, you know, ignore that, you know, so it doesn't keep popping up. Or if in fact, like, I can tell that there's no module back there, that, you know, be able to ignore it and make it go ahead and go through its process. But anyway, that's just a little gripe, and it only affects me at certain times a day. We'll just have to live with it.
The second piece of whatever we have found today. Found a hub that I ran over, and then I just ran over this. And I didn't see it, so we'll see if we have a tire by the end of the night.
Alright, we got done with the left half of the farm, everything that was ripped, and getting started over here in this field. Now, my inroads right here, I did rip that, and well, you can tell it's definitely not very impressive, but this is a place we got literally no topsoil, so don't really know how much ripping is going to improve it. If all you got subsoil and fragipan, I mean, it just ain't going to grow much of anything. It will grow some good grass out there though. And anyway, you get out here in kind of the main part of the field, I mean, or the yield monitor, it looks like it's yielding about the same. The cotton might be just a smidge shorter, but you know, it's still yielding about what it did right over there. I will say though, one thing I have noticed over here in the non-rib ground is I've got several more drowned out spots. You see, like right there, coming up. Didn't really have hardly any of that over there in the ripped ground, but over here, even after replanting, I mean, we got some drowned out even after we replanted. Or I'm not going to say drowned it out, just water, the soil probably stays saturated too long. I think it would be impossible on this farm for anything to actually drown out as rolling as it is. Ain't hardly a flat spot on this farm. And seeing how short a lot of this cotton was, I think I was probably a little too aggressive with our plant growth regulator this year with the conditions we faced. That plant growth regulator, it's just hard to hit it just right. I can say here's another real big, you know, drowned out spot where cotton just didn't come up. It's going to really hurt and pull the average down quite a bit. Man, this is ugly. Boy, it's real ugly. But that's what we do on our channel. We'll show you the good. We'll show you the bad too. Ain't everything always peaches and cream. But anyway, we got 4 more wraps left on this roll. I'm gonna try to get this roll run out, and then you know, we're only about 1.5 miles from the shop, so we've used up a ton of fuel today. We need to load more wrap in the balers. So instead of dragging more wrap out here, I'm just going to take the picker on into the shop. I've already seen Kelly and Andy on home. But overall, we've had a heck of a day. I think I've had a grand total of 1 choke up today. The only other time I've had to get off today was we had to fill up with water, and then I had to grease my heads late this afternoon. We've had just an absolutely fantastic day. I mean, right now I'm sitting on 55 acres covered, and that's no small feat considering I hadn't been able to go full throttle today because of how rough that ground was. Now that we made it out of that rip ground, I can shove this hydro all the way forward, you know, do a full 4.5 miles an hour, and then we get on, you know, relatively flat and smooth ground. I can put her in second gear and trot on along at 5 miles an hour. But this has probably been the best day running we've had since we started. I'll be so glad to see a bush hog come across this, so I ain't got to look at it no more. Been having to look at these sorry spots all year long. Just me having to cut these inroads have already pulled my field average down around 25 pounds an acre. Anyway, guys, we're going to try and get 3 more modules picked, and we'll see you back out here in the morning. Well, you cannot ask for a more picture perfect October day. It's like the one day of the year that the temperature is absolutely perfect. Not hot, not humid, not dry, just absolutely perfect. So we're going to enjoy it while it lasts. That's right, 220 gallons of fuel to pick 65 acres and move farms one time. That's an average of 3.38 gallons per acre, or at today's fuel prices, what I bought fuel at, $9.10 an acre, just in fuel costs to run this machine over the cotton ground. Just a couple stats for the nerds like me. How about you, Andy? Is that a litter pile you're pulling from? Is it pretty moist, or does it look like the wind we got today is affecting the spread pattern at all?
No, it looks like it's still spreading about the same. The pile is a little bit moisture, I guess.
All right, well, just keep an eye on it. If you notice it like blowing one direction or the other real bad, you might have to adjust the direction you're spraying or spreading, whereas, you know, the wind's blowing across the back and it'll be more consistent.
Okay, yeah, I mean, out of my mirrors and out of the back glass, it looks like it's spreading pretty much the same as it's been spreading since we started. Yeah,
I can tell there's going to be a storm system coming in here in the next couple of days. That picture perfect temperature I talked about earlier, you can feel the humidity starting to rise. Like I said, the wind's picking up a little bit, temperature's picking up a little bit. When that happens in the fall, you can be sure there's a cold front coming not too far behind it, and where those conflicting air masses meet, there's going to be some thunder boomers. I think from what I saw from Ryan Hall, is that today's Tuesday, it's looking like it should be coming through here Thursday. That's fine with me. We're very well on track to easily get done tomorrow, as long as we don't have any problems or breakdowns. Heck, we could probably get done today if I wanted to run to past midnight, but I don't think there's any need for an all-nighter right now. Well, we finally found some decent cotton on this farm. We're down here in the little bottom, and good deep soils always makes really good. And the only thing it was limited by was the length of the growing season this year. Good height on it, pretty good bowl set. Just didn't quite have a long enough growing season for it to maximize yield potential. We got about 3-4 more acres on this farm. We'll be rolling across the road to our last 2 farms. All right, just wrapped up a Ferguson farm here. There's a whole lot of pink out there, so Now y'all want to know, what does the yield map look like? All right, where I ripped, draw a line there and come down here. Everything on the right, this field, this field, this field, I did not rip. This I did rip. There is a little bit of increase, I'd say, on the yield map. A lot of this purple you see up here in this map, that was very poor stand. There wasn't much there. It was drowned out, which I attributed last night to ripping benefiting. This field right here, it's just plumb terrible, and I did wind up ripping it. There is some kind of a yield increase, but it's very small. Now when I adjust the scale to try and narrow it up some, I mean, I'd say ripping did offer me a minor benefit, especially in this area that were just notoriously poor. It definitely did help some there. So I'd say right now the verdict is still out a little bit on ripping, whether it's ultimately worth it or not. I think that's highly situation dependent, though. It's highly crop dependent. You know, cotton, you know, we might not see that big of a, you know, yield increase on cotton because it's already got a pretty strong, thick main tap root that's, you know, probably better able to penetrate compaction and, well, potentially fragipan a little bit better than, say, corn roots can that are a lot smaller and a lot more fibrous. So you know, it could be very crop specific. We're going to plant wheat over here, and it's going to be very interesting to see next summer, see if we see any difference in wheat yield. You know, wheat is typically a fairly shallow rooted crop, real fine roots, so the ripping might potentially help the wheat crop out a lot more than what has benefited the cotton crop out. So I'm not slamming the door shut on ripping. I know a lot of people have seen big results out of it, and hopefully at some point we will see big results out of it too. I'm just showing you the data that I've collected this year. Nothing scientific about the way that we collected that data, but it is data regardless, and I'm not going to issue any recommendations one way or the other right now. I'll let you make your own decisions and judge it for what it is. However, I've seen a lot of people kind of touting it as the be-all, end-all, cure-all of everything that's wrong with your farm. Just like I've seen people advertise cover crops as doing the same thing. I think ripping is just another tool in the toolbox that if used in the proper manner can give you specific benefits. I just think from here on out, you know, rather than just ultimately deciding to rip a whole field, you know, maybe might be better off just to do some spot treatment where you know you've actually got issues, because you're a lot more likely to see the benefit out of it. So I don't know, we're going to keep on playing around with it for a few more years. We still got a lot to learn about it. Please don't take what I said as the be-all end-all of what you need to know about ripping, because again, I'm still learning, just trying to share what we've learned this year with y'all, and hopefully help y'all make some better and more educated decisions for your own farm. All right, 75 acres left to go with cotton. I can almost see that light at the end of the tunnel.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is 8 modules that came off this 80-acre farm, or 32 rounds. And that's really weird because it worked out perfectly. I didn't have like 2 by itself. I literally have 8 rows of 4. And now we are just going across the street, and I'm hoping that that farm is a lot better ground wise, which I know it is because Matt ripped this up, so maybe my back can survive. And it looks like the kid just got out of school and he is headed over here, probably to just come hang out or drive his truck around.
I believe the cotton on this farm should be significantly better than what it was on the one across the road. We got a little bit better soil over here for sure. We've got a couple of nice bottoms over here, but got better plant height. Looks like it's filled out a little bit better, so I still don't think this is going to even come close to comparing to what our early planted cotton is, but for you know, May 29th, May 30th replanted cotton, I think this is going to fare pretty well. But like I said before, you can't judge cotton by the way it looks.